G'day everyone and welcome to Inside Rugby. If you haven't been here before, my name is Mark. I'm a Kiwi rugby fan living in beautiful Cancun in Mexico. And in this video I'm going to be talking about the URC game that was much anticipated, that was played yesterday between Leinster and the Vodafone Bulls. It was played at home at Leinster. 18,000 people packed the stands, and Craig Evans was the referee for this game, and Leinster 1,500 caps in their team. Absolutely outstanding. So let's get into it and I'll give you my full analysis of the game. Now, before this game got underway, I was anticipating a number of things that I really wanted to watch in this game. First of all, the forwards, and I wanted to see whether the Bulls were going to be able to take it to Leinster over the 80 minutes. I thought the Bulls might be able to hang in there for a while, but I was a bit concerned about their ability through their reserves to keep that pressure on Leinster if they were getting any domination in the forwards. I thought both teams were going to play an open, expansive game of rugby, and I was looking forward to seeing how these Leinster backs would try and get through the Bulls' defence. That was something else that I was watching out for in this game. Kicking was always going to be another important factor, particularly from the number 10s, and also the goal kicking perspective. So those are a couple of things that I was keeping my eye on as this game got underway. And it was really interesting in the first few minutes of this game, I thought, because the Bulls started off really well, and they showed that forward dominance that surprised a few people, I think, and in particular in the first 10 minutes or so. And when we got to have the first scrums and lineouts of the games, the Bulls were really putting the pressure on the Leinster forwards, and Alawatoa, I think, was probably the weak link in there for Leinster at that stage, but I think the Bulls were just having a little bit more efficiency and raw power up front, and that's where they started to dominate in the very early stages of this game. And as the first half went on, I thought it was interesting how the momentum went one way and then the other, and we'll have a look at how that unfolded throughout the first half. Now, in the 8th minute of the game, Johan Usen for the Bulls got their first penalty kick at goal. They went up to 3 points to 0, and it was after some concerted pressure from the Bulls that were doing some good things, and it was through their forwards and also through their backs where they were putting a little bit of pressure on Leinster. Leinster were trying to run the ball and their intention was there, but they were just making a couple of errors, so the Bulls were able to capitalise on that, and they were getting good turnover ball too in the first 10 minutes of the game. So I think it was fair enough that the Bulls went up 3-0 after 8 minutes after that applied pressure in the first phases of the game. By the time we'd reached the 14th minute of the game, the Bulls had won 3 scrums and were looking pretty dominant up front, which was really interesting. They got a penalty on halfway, so 50 metres out. Usen came up and had another crack at goal, and it was no problem. He's been kicking really well throughout the URC so far, so it was no surprise actually to see the Bulls go up 6 points to 0 after 18 minutes of the game. There was quite a bit of kicking and general play in this game in the early stages, and both teams were trying to get that territorial advantage and seeing whether the other team could come back and make anything of that. The defences were both very good in the early stages of this game, and the Bulls, no matter that they did have that dominance, I thought in the first 20 minutes of the game, they weren't able to get through the Leinster defence. And it was around that 20th minute mark where we saw the first change of momentum. So it was in the 18th minute of the game that we saw the first bit of magic from Leinster, and what a try it was, fantastically started by Van der Fleer. That man's into everything these days, whether it be for Ireland or whether it be for Leinster. He's playing fantastic rugby again this year. He offloaded the pass to Osborne, and then he found Lamar, who was right outside him, and he went in to score a fantastic try for Leinster. And it really was against the run of play, I thought, at that time. The conversion was good from Harry Byrne, and all of a sudden Leinster were right back into this game, and in fact leading it by 7 points to 6 after 20 minutes. I thought the Bulls had the best of that first 20 minutes. The momentum was really with them until Leinster scored that try, and probably at that stage of the game we thought things were going to change a little bit as Leinster found their momentum on that particular set piece of play. And in the 21st minute of the game, a big moment I thought in the game when Marco van Staden went off for the Bulls and Guamita came on, And you know, Van Staden's a fantastic player, both for the Bulls and also for the Springboks, of course, and I'm sure at that stage the Bulls were going to miss him in terms of his ability in the breakdown, and I thought that was going to be a big moment in the game. In the 23rd minute we saw Leicester win a scrum penalty, and this is where the momentum started to change up front, I thought, and they were getting on top of the Bulls in the forwards, or at least making it a contest at that stage. And although the Bulls enjoyed that dominance in the first 20 minutes, Leinster worked out how to combat their scrum problems. Leinster got a penalty, and Harry Byrne did a fantastic kick for touch that put Leinster within 5 minutes with an attacking line-out. Is a very good opportunity for them to put real pressure on the Bulls, and that's exactly what they did, and there was no surprise. 2 minutes later they scored a fantastic try to Kelleher, who went over in a rolling maul, and it just showed that the forward domination that the Bulls enjoyed in the first 20 minutes was well and true over. Leinster were back in this game and they scored a magnificent try. Unfortunately, Harry Byrne wasn't able to get the conversion from touch, but the Bulls were now behind Leinster by 12 points to 6. Now, as the first half went on, I thought the Bulls' box kicking wasn't being effective, and they kept going to that strategy, which I thought was a bit of a mistake. They were putting the box kick up, hoping that they were going to get some rewards out of that, and that Leinster were going to make some mistakes at the back. They simply didn't do that. On 3 occasions I counted where the box kick didn't reap them any rewards. They kept going to it. They should have changed their strategy and kept ball in hand. However, the next play worked out for them because Leinster had the ball. James Lowe did one of those big raking left foot kicks down into the Bulls territory, and the ball came back from Johan Goosen, who did a fantastic run, found Kurtley Arendse outside of him, and Arendse went in for a fantastic try. Now, during the time of the try being scored, Luke McGrath came over and did what was a fairly ridiculous tackle at the time, I thought, and actually ended up getting a yellow card. Many have called for a red card for that one. You can leave your thoughts in the comments around what you thought, whether you thought that was just a solid yellow card or whether you thought it should have been upgraded to a red card. But Arendse had a fantastic run. He looked very dangerous every time he got the ball for the Bulls in this game. The try was scored out wide on the right-hand side of the field, and unfortunately Hoosen wasn't able to get the conversion over. So at that stage, Leinster were leading 12 points to 11, but this game was really on now in the 34th minute and looked like it was going to be a fantastic contest. And it was a really interesting first half, I thought, because we saw a seesawing of momentum. As I'd mentioned, I thought the Bulls did better in the first 20 minutes of that game, but then we saw Leinster come back into the game. And I thought for probably 10-15 minutes of the first half there, they were starting to get on top of the Bulls. Of course, they scored the try. But then the Bulls came back at the end of the first half, and I thought they did better in the last 5 or 6 minutes of the first half. In the 39th minute, they got a penalty, which Hoosen got over, and that put them into the lead at half time. So it was really set up for a fantastic second half of this game. 14-12 at half time to the Bulls, and 2 tries to 1 to Leinster, so they were leading on the try count. And it looked like the Bulls' defence was going to be opened up on several occasions in that first half when Leinster had their momentum run. So it was a really good first half of rugby. I thought there was a lot going on in that first half. I thought the forward exchanges were very interesting, both in the lineouts and also in the scrums. As I said, Leinster worked out how to battle those big forwards, but I did see a change when Marco van Staden went off. I thought that Leinster were getting more dominant in the breakdown area, and I thought this was going to be a telling thing in the second half. Arendse had a fantastic first half. As I said, every time he got the ball he looked very, very strong. But Leinster also were playing their part in this game, and I thought McGrath had a good first half until he did that silly tackle at the end of it. And we also saw some good play from Harry Byrne. I thought he was playing really well at number 10. Lamo, fullback, was going well, and James Lowe was doing his thing as well. Only had one bad kick in the first half. The rest with that mighty left foot were pretty good. Henshaw was also playing well in the first half. So Leinster had it all there to go for. I just thought they had to get that forward battle sorted out. Now, don't forget, the second half got underway with Leinster down to 14 men. Luke McGrath got the yellow card, of course, for that tackle on Runse, and it was looking like that was going to cause them a few problems, but it didn't, because the second half got underway and it was Leinster right from the get-go. They really came out putting amazing pressure on the Bulls in the first few minutes of that second half. So in the 44th minute of the game, Leinster blew this game apart. They got a deep attacking play. The ball came out to the right-hand side. Joe McCarthy got the ball, slipped a fantastic pass to James Lowe, who was just 10 metres away from the try line. He made no mistake in diving over and getting the ball down. Harry Byrne did a fantastic conversion from the sideline, and all of a sudden Leinster were out to 19 points to 14, and they started off the second half just as they wanted to do. And then they kept that momentum going, because just 3 minutes later they were in again and they'd blown this whole game apart. It was Michael Milne who'd come on as a substitute for Leinster, who went over for another brilliant try, again set up by their forwards, good rolling maul, and Michael Milne was the man on the spot to score the try for Leinster. The pass had come from Gibson Park out to Michael Milne. He made no mistake. The conversion was successful and Leinster shot out to 26 points to 14. And we were only 8 minutes into the second half, and I thought, wow, Leinster have really blown this game apart. The Bulls weren't able to handle them early in the second half, and this is where Leinster are so dangerous. They'd started making some of the reserve changes at this stage, and it really made a difference, I felt, in this game. So it was 26-14. We headed into the 50-minute mark, and at 54 minutes we got Harry Byrne came off for Leinster. Thought he played an exceptionally good game up until that stage, and it's going to be interesting to see what Andy Farrell does with him and whether he's going to get more game time for Ireland. I think he played really well in this game. His brother came on, Ross Byrne, came on at that stage, and it was going to be an opportunity for him to get 30 odd minutes or so in this game. And then in the next couple of minutes we saw RNC for the Bulls again have another good breaking run. As I said, he played fantastically well in this game, even on a losing side as it turned out to be. But he's got to be one of the most dangerous wingers in the world. He's got pace, he's got agility to get around a player and be able to beat a player, and he's very good in the air as well as RNC. So make sure, keep your eye on him throughout this URC series, and also when the Springboks get to take on Ireland in July. It's going to be very interesting to see how he goes. But it was all Leinster in the beginning of the second half of this game, and they kept building the momentum, and the Bulls started to look more and more fragile. I think that first half took a lot out of the Bulls. They did everything they could to stay in the game. They went to half-time with a slender lead, and they thought that they were in for a big opportunity in the second half. But this Leinster team is a very good team, and they really put their pedal to the metal in the beginning of that second half. Then in the 61st minute we saw from Leinster that it's not just their attack that is brilliant. We saw Dan Sheehan do a fantastic pilfer of the ball as the Bulls went close to scoring a try, and it was definitely a try-saving breakdown win for Dan Sheehan. So they were really showing what they could also do in the defensive line, and that was one of the big plays from Leinster, and we saw quite a few of them. I thought Van der Fleer was huge in that first half as well when he came up with a couple of great plays. Joe McCarthy was having another great game, as was Conan as well. And then we saw Caelan Doris come on in the second half, and what a player to be able to bring on. So when Van der Fleer did go off in the second half, he was replaced by Caelan Doris, and he went to work doing what he always does for both Leinster and for Ireland. In the 63rd minute we saw Leinster go in again. It was that man Dan Sheehan who was out on the wing. He spends a lot of time on the wing these days, but when he's out there he scores tries, and he got a great pass from Conan, put him over in the corner, and he wasn't going to make a mistake. So in the 63rd minute the Leinster team were in for another try, and that really broke this game apart for the Bulls. There was no way back at this stage, and Leinster were just really dominating. There was still 17 minutes to go in this game. So the fifth try put the Leinster team out to 31 points to 14. It was converted by Ross Byrne, 33-14, and there was still 17 minutes to go in this game. So it looked like the floodgates had started to open up now, and the Bulls were starting to run out of not only energy but also ideas on how to get through this Leinster defence. So in the 38th minute it was that man Jack Conan who had an opportunity to set up the previous try. This time he was the one scoring the try, and it was a great try by him. He'd received the pass from Ross Byrne, went in and put Leinster even further in the lead. The conversion was successful, and Leinster were out to 40 points to 14 at this stage. As the game went on, I was watching Creel more and more of the inside centre for the Bulls. Thought he was having a really good game, both in offence and in defence. He did some good breaking runs in this game for the Bulls. And again, on a losing team, he was one of the standout players for the Bulls. He did some great tackles too on defence for the Bulls during this game against Leinster. But as the game went on and we got into the tail end of the game, it was Leinster that were keeping the pressure on the Bulls. We did see another fantastic run from Ardense, and he actually went over for what appeared to be an intercept try, but it was actually called back, and the TMO decided to ruin that opportunity for RNC, and it was declared a non-try because of what happened before the try was scored. Now, a pretty interesting one, this one. I'd like to know what you thought of this in the comments. We had Ross Byrne on the ground protecting the ball. RNC went through with what looked like a kick at the ball, but from my perspective, I thought he pulled out at the last second, and he saw that he wasn't going to get anywhere near the ball. However, the TMO and the referee decided that it was dangerous play and that the intercept try that RNC would have scored was not going to stand. But I'd like to know what you thought about that particular incident in the comments below. My feeling on that is if it wasn't a try, we wouldn't even be talking about this. It wouldn't have been called back and play would have carried on, but that's just my opinion. Leinster weren't done in this game, and in the 75th minute we saw Liam Turner go over for their 7th try. It was aidily converted by Ross Byrne, and the final score of this game was going to be 47 points to 14. An interesting point that happened in the final minutes of the game is the referee, Mr. Evans, Craig Evans got himself injured. Looked pretty bad actually, looked like he twisted an ankle or something, and we had a bit of byplay in the end where the exchange referee had to come on, and then we thought the game was over, and it wasn't, because one of the clocks had decided to not count down, or the new substitute referee decided there need to be another couple of phases of this game. So we were well into 80 minutes by the time the game was finished. But when it did finish, the scoreboard was the same. It was 47 points to 14 in favour of Leinster, and it was really that dominating period in the second half where they took over from the Bulls and they really turned it around. Their forwards started to play fantastic. They worked out how to get on top of this Bulls outfit, and as I said, I think some of those reserve changes really made the difference for both Leinster and also for the Bulls. Saw the Bulls' intensity drop off in that second half, and I think after those quick couple of tries from Leinster, they really got a little bit demotivated. Their heads went down a little bit, and when I saw a couple of those late tries from the Leinster team, it appears as though the Bulls had really given up on this game. But it was a dominating win from Leinster. I can't see anybody really taking them or giving them any trouble in the remainder of the URC. I think they're just going to be the dominating team, and the Bulls were a little bit surprising to me to see them drop away so much in the second half. It's going to be interesting to see how they pick themselves up for their next game back in South Africa. You know, there's a lot of great players for Leinster in this game. I thought Gibson Park, when he came on, played very, very well. James Lowe did his great normal standard high level of performance, but it was in the forwards that I really think we saw great performances. Furlong did well when he came on. Conan, of course, was good. McCarthy was big throughout the game, and of course Caelan Doris came on. But it was Josh van der Flier that really stood out for me. He was doing some exceptional work in the breakdown. He's just such a wonderful, wonderful player, and watching great flankers of the past, you know, and I come from New Zealand, and we've had a couple of good ones right back to Graham Murray and of course Richie McCall. But seeing Josh van der Flier ply his trade for this Leinster team and also for the Irish team, he's just an absolutely fantastic player. No wonder at all that he won the Rugby Player of the Year a couple of years ago. So it was a great performance by Leinster. Harry Byrne, I thought, played very, very well. He was good at number 10. Osborne was really good as well. Henshaw was in there. It was really a complete team performance, and Lama at the back, when he got opportunities, looked very dangerous with the ball, and showed me something that we didn't see perhaps when he was in the Irish green colour running around for them. He was playing really, really well in this Leinster team. The Bulls, however, had a good first 40 minutes. They went to the changing rooms in the lead in that first 40 minutes, but they weren't able to apply the pressure at all, and their defence was pretty bad in the second half. Willie LaRue in particular. And where was Kanan Moody in this game? We hardly ever saw him. I was really looking forward to seeing Moody and Arendse do their darting runs throughout this game. We saw it from Arendse, but we didn't see it from Kainan Moodie, and I had to look at my notepad and think, well, have we ever seen him in this game? So far he made a couple of plays, but none of those trademark breaks that we usually see from Kainan Moodie. So he was a little bit disappointing in this game. Johan Hoosen, I thought, had a good first half, didn't back it up in the second half, and when some of those running plays close to the ruck needed some big Bulls defence, Hoosen went missing on those occasions as well. And I thought the Bulls' first half performance in the forwards was very good, but they were definitely dominated by the Leinster pack in the second half as they worked out how to play against this Bulls forward pack. So overall, a great win by Leinster. I thought they played very, very well, and as I say, I can't see anybody giving them too much of a hard game in this URC championship as it continues. But you let me know what you think in the comments, and also let me know, did this game actually come out the way that you thought it would? Did you think it would be a runaway win by Leinster in the second half, particularly after that first half where the Bulls, I thought, played pretty well to be in the lead at half time? I'd be looking forward to your comments on that one. Okay, well, that's it for me on this particular game from the URC. Make sure you stick around here on Inside Rugby. If you like my content, why not give that subscribe button a little bit of a smash, and also give this video a bit of a thumbs up. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. I'll be back again soon with some more rugby content from across the world. Until then, it's time to say adios from beautiful Mexico. Until next time, stay well, stay safe everyone, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye for now.